You guys are the worst. Stripping me naked. Unbelievable." As she shouted, my boss started hitting me with her fists. Her blows were so powerful, it was hard to believe she'd been out of breath just moments ago. Several of her pinches landed clean hits on my face, leaving me with bruises that would appear later on. All I did was help my boss when she fell, and this is the treatment I get. Some days later, I was called into the CEO's office, where the boss I had helped was waiting. Stripping a woman in such a place, you seem unaware of the gravity of your actions. It's unforgivable, both as a professional and as a person. Your time here is over, I'm afraid. As she scolded me, the door opened and Mr. Thompson, the CEO, walked in. "What's all this noise? I could hear it from outside. What are you so angry about?" This man took advantage of my unconscious state to humiliate me. "I see. Then, I'm afraid you'll have to take responsibility for your actions." From that day on, my life took a dramatic turn. As I was getting dressed for work in the morning, I could see dead leaves falling outside my window. Autumn is coming. That was quick. Looking down to put on my socks, I noticed the scar on the top of my right foot. Every time I see the scar, bitter memories from high school come flooding back. "Would you consider dating me?" "Yeah, sure." My first love was in my freshman year of high school, a rather late start for a first love. On the first day in high school, during self-introductions in class, I fell for her at first sight. She was petite and pretty. She was my first love. Unable to bear seeing her talk to other boys, I had nothing but dating her on my mind and called her to the back gate of the school to confess my feelings to her. She readily agreed, and I was overjoyed, on cloud nine. But that happiness lasted only a week. "Maxwell, I'm sorry. I've been asked out by the senior. I've always liked him. I can go out with you after all." Every time I think back to those days, my foot scar aches. Even at 25, I still can erase the heartbreak from high school. It's no wonder I've been reluctant to date women up to this age. My first love became a trauma, and the fear of being dumped scares me. Apparently, a male-female duo of singers used to sing a song called "Islands in the Stream." Just like the theme of the song, where a loving couple sets out towards the stream, rowing together towards the future with the belief that everything will be okay. My parents nurtured their love in the same way, named me after the Old English term for grand stream as a testament to the love they found in each other. I'm a really pathetic guy who still drags around a broken heart from the distant past, even though my name is filled with the idea of believing in love without worrying about it. After putting on my socks and finishing my preparations, I leave for work. Swaying in the packed train, worrying about not to step on this woman's feet or not to bump other man with my elbow. I'm already tired by the time I arrive the office. Being worrying too much is in my nature, but it's disheartening to do this every day. Arriving at the office feeling drained. The company I work for is a fairly large travel agency. I chose this company not because I had a particular passion, but because I like the phrase "a company built by all its employees" and joined following my seminar professor's recommendation. Morning, Max. Good morning, Max. At the office, I'm not called by my true name of Maxwell, but by the nickname, Max. My laid-back personality doesn't stand out much, but my rare name makes me memorable to new acquaintances. So I guess I benefit from my name in that regard. As I sat down at my desk, my colleagues, Alex and Ryan, came over. "Let's go to the diner for lunch today." The ever-cheerful Alex approaches me with a light-hearted tone from the morning. "I've got a packed lunch today, so I'll eat in the kitchen." Ryan, a firm guy, seems to have a lunch prepared by his girlfriend. "Man, a love-packed lunch, huh? You should ask your girlfriend to do that, too. She's not great at cooking, so it's better to eat out." Both of them have girlfriends. Sometimes I feel envious hearing about their girlfriends, but it has nothing to do with me. I have work to focus on. I always tell myself that to shake off my slight feeling of loneliness. Hey, Max, good morning. Hi, Tyler, good morning. Our manager, Tyler, is a kind and caring senior. Since I was a newcomer, I've been learning the ropes from him, and the three of us respect Tyler a lot. After greeting Tyler, I started preparing for my outside work. Generally, my job involves being outside, but when my foot is acting up, I'm allowed to do office work instead. Sometimes, I get severe pain in the area of my foot injury, and the persistent memory of high school might be partly due to this recurring pain. Only my colleagues Alex, Ryan, and Tyler know about my foot condition. Tyler, understanding my situation, assigns me to analyze customer information and support sales when I'm working indoors. One day, when my foot was particularly bad, I was desk-bound from the morning. Around 10 a.m., the branch manager from the headquarters, Sierra, came to our office. She often visits our branch for meetings with Tyler. Since most male employees are out, my presence in the office is quite noticeable. Whenever she's around, she tends to pick on me for one thing or another. If you're working indoors, you should propose some new travel plans. It's getting harder and harder these days to find people who wait for instructions and don't move unless their boss tells them to. Sierra is a beautiful woman but has a tough personality. For someone like me, who usually works under the kind Tyler, she's a difficult person to deal with. Sierra, what do you think about including the senior citizen tour I've been working on in this winter's campaign? I believe it's turned out to be quite interesting. Our colleague, Brandon, is trying to impress Sierra with his idea. He's competent, but his self-centered nature and lack of empathy are off-putting. He seems to dislike that I work indoors instead of going outside work and often makes snide remarks about it. I've been busy with outside work, but I managed to come up with this plan in the little time I had. Could you consider it? It's clearly a dig at me. Sierra rebukes him to go thrift Tyler first, and Brandon looks disappointed. But it's admirable, coming up with new ideas while also doing outside work. You, doing indoor work, should take a leaf out of his book. Brandon smirks at me from the corner of his eye as Sierra speaks. I guess I'm just part of a laid-back generation. I mutter to myself, resign, and go back to the work I've been interrupted from. Man, it's been a while since the three of us went out like this. Ryan says cheerfully, looking out the window. Let's have a blast today. Come on, Max, take this. Ryan, driving, and Alex, in the passenger seat munching on fries, passes a shake he bought at a drive-thru restaurant to me in the back seat. As autumn deepens, the three of us were heading to a hot spring in the countryside, thinking of seeing the fall foliage. We exit the highway and follow the signs towards the hot springs. Our company offers a day-use plan as a welfare benefit. Once a month, we get a Sunday off to refresh ourselves. Using this, the three of us took a Monday off to go on a 2-day hot spring resort trip. As it's Sunday, we get caught in a traffic jam entering the hot spring town. Looking at the pedestrians, there seem to be many foreign tourists. There sure are a lot of foreigners at the resort. I should have learned foreign languages more. You can do it still. I can't think of anything new anymore. You're good, fluent in French. Alex, who studied engineering, has been struggling with guiding the increasing number of foreign tourists lately. Ryan, a French literature graduate, has no trouble with that. It's unusual, coming to a travel company from an engineering background. Wouldn't you have been better off at a manufacturer or something? Well, I considered it, but I wanted a job that involves interacting with people. Maybe it's just my personality. In our company, people with a science background are rare. If it's the right job for you, isn't that what matters? While we were having that conversation, we arrived at our destination, the hotel. This hotel is a hidden gem among many hot spring resort hotels. No matter which room you choose, the view from the window is picturesque and beautiful. The food is quite lavish for the price, and above all, the hot spring is exceptional. Soaking in the hot spring jacuzzi built along the riverbank, with maple leaves fluttering down and the babbling of the river, is truly soothing. Staying here on a Sunday is a privilege of working at a travel agency. We checked into our reserved room, peered out the window at the trees starting to show their autumn colors and the gently flowing river beneath them, then changed into our swimsuits and headed for the jacuzzi. Wow, this is great. It was still early, around 4 p.m., and there were no other guests around. Soaking in the whirlpool tub, we felt refreshed both physically and mentally. As we chatted with the sound of the river flow in the background, the conversation turned to their girlfriends. Ryan asked Alex about his plans. "Are you going to marry your girlfriend, Alex?" "I haven't thought about it much, but maybe when the time comes." "What about you? You're planning to get married soon, right?" "Maybe next year." "She's been urging me to hurry up." "Max, aren't you going to find a girlfriend?" There it was again. Whenever this topic comes up, I, who have no prospects, find myself at a loss. I'm fine for now. Work's keeping me busy. You're always such a workaholic. Having a girlfriend might give you even more motivation. Well, if the opportunity arises. I smoothly dodged Ryan's question and steered the conversation in another direction. But Sierra can be really hard. She's always picking on me, and it's really stressing me out. I don't think anyone would like her with that personality. Probably going to be single for life. As soon as Alex finished speaking, Ryan turned the conversation back to me. "She doesn't bother us like that, so maybe she's got a thing for you. You know, people say boys are mean to the girls they like, right?" "Cut it out. Even if she's attractive, her personality's not my type." "Oh yes, that's true." Alex agreed, and as our conversation grew lively, we didn't realize our voices had gotten louder until we heard a cough from afar, and Alex quickly covered his mouth. "Oops, someone's here." Ryan whispered quietly, mindful of the neighbors. Making noise could get us mentioned on the internet and cause trouble for this hotel. Being sensitive to customer complaints due to our line of work, we decided to keep our voices down. After a long soak in the jacuzzi, we started feeling a bit lightheaded and decided to head back to our room. As we exited the hot spring, we stopped in our tracks at the sight of a woman's back. "Isn't that Sierra?" Alex whispered, and upon closer inspection, it was indeed Sierra. We quietly returned to the tub and waited for Sierra to walk away. "Why is she here?" "Oh, that was Sierra who coughed just now, wasn't it?" The warmth drained from my body as Alex spoke. "Did she hear our conversation?" I said, and we all looked at each other, unsure of what to do next. After about 10 minutes, thinking it was probably safe now, we cautiously left the tub and started walking down the corridor. As we headed back to our room, careful not to run into Sierra, we noticed someone leaning against the wall ahead. As we got closer, we realized it was Sierra. We were debating whether to pretend we hadn't seen her and turn back when Ryan suggested we should at least greet her, so we approached her. But just as we were about to speak, Sierra suddenly collapsed in front of us. We rushed to her side and called out to her. "Sierra, are you okay?" Shaking her and calling out, there was no response. I called out again, "Can you hear me?" And when I put my ear to her mouth, she wasn't breathing. There was no movement in her chest to indicate she was breathing either. Realizing the severity of the situation, I quickly asked Alex for help. "Alex, go get an AED." "Okay, got it." I remembered that during the COVID-19 pandemic, we were taught that chest compressions alone could be sufficient, though normally CPR would include both chest compressions and rescue breaths. In my neighborhood association, we regularly conduct disaster drills, and being one of the younger participants, I often attend these drills where I learned life-saving techniques, including this guidance. Ryan, please get something thin cloth and a dry towel. Also, call 911. Got it. After giving Ryan these instructions, I checked each step carefully before placing my hands on Sierra's chest to start chest compressions. Ryan returned first, so I placed the thin fabric he brought over Sierra's mouth and continued with the chest compressions. Are you sure it's okay to press that hard? Yup, it's okay. It won't mean anything unless it's done with this much force continuously. Ryan was worried seeing Sierra's body moving up and down, but I was sweating and panting from the effort, especially after coming out of the hot tub. Hey, I got it. Alex had brought back the borrowed AED and was watching my chest compressions. I checked Sierra's breath again, but there was still no sign of her breathing returning. It's no use, let's use the AED. I hurriedly told Alex to open the AED as I undid Sierra's clothes. This is... Both Ryan and I, and Alex holding the electrode pads, were taken aback. Spread across Sierra's beautiful body, just out of the hot tub, were scars from burns. Regaining my composure, I took the electrode pads from Alex, placed them in their proper positions, covered the exposed skin with a towel, moved Ryan and Alex aside, and turned on the AED. After the voice instructions finished, I resumed chest compressions immediately. It looks like she's breathing. At Ryan's voice, I removed the thin cloth from her mouth, and indeed, Sierra had started breathing again. Yes. Alex cheered as Sierra woke up. Can you hear me, Sierra? As I shouted, she looked at me and tried to sit up. Good. It seems you're going to be okay. As I expressed my relief, Sierra noticed her clothes were undone, quickly covered herself, and started yelling at us. You guys are the worst. Stripping me naked. Unbelievable. She began hitting me like a child. As Alex and Ryan tried to intervene, but Sierra wouldn't stop. Several of her pinches landed clean hits on my face, which later turned into bruises. The commotion attracted the hotel staff and guests, creating a huge scene with a crowd forming around us. Sierra, what are you doing? Then I heard a familiar voice from among the guests and turned to see Tyler walking towards us. He pulled Sierra away from me as the paramedics arrived. Ryan explained the situation, and the paramedics took Sierra and Tyler to the hospital. Why is Tyler here? Was he here incognito? As we watched the two of them being escorted to the ambulance by the paramedics, the three of us just stood there dumbfounded. 2 days later, when I arrived at work, Alex and Ryan were already there, and Alex spoke to me in a low voice. That was quite a mess, right? Never expected Sierra and Tyler to be there. Then Ryan mentioned that Tyler was off today. He called this morning, said he's taking the day off, and that any documents due today should be handled by Max. Really? That document has so much data, there's no way I can finish it by today. Guess there's no helping it. I'll give you a hand for 2 days' worth of lunches. With a grin, Alex nodded and started working on the document. I'll settle for 3 cans of coffee. With that, Ryan also opened the shared folder and began working on the customer data compilation that Tyler had left unfinished. Always taking advantage of me. Despite my thoughts, I was grateful for their support. The next day, when I arrived at the office, there was a noticeable buzz. Dropping my bag at my desk, I noticed everyone looking at me. What? Did I do something? That's when Tyler instructed me to head to the headquarters immediately. It turns out, Mr. Thompson had called first thing in the morning, requesting my presence at the headquarters as soon as I arrived at work. What did you do? I haven't done anything. While whispering with Ryan, Tyler urged me to hurry up, and I quickly made my way to the headquarters. Upon arriving, a receptionist escorted me to the president's office. Opening the door, I was met with Sierra standing there with an angry expression. Sierra, you're here too. Despite my greeting, she just ignored me and glared. After a while, she finally spoke up. You're Maxwell, right? I had to call you here because you haven't come to apologize. Confused by her demand for an apology, I asked for clarification. To think you're not even aware, stripping a woman in such a place. You don't seem to realize the gravity of what you've done. This is unforgivable, both as a professional and as a person. You're done, I'm afraid. Are you talking about the incident at the hotel? I thought you were in danger, so I... Shut up, making excuses as a man. How pathetic. As she was scolding me, the door opened and Mr. Thompson entered the room. What's all this noise? I can hear it from outside. What are you angry about, Sierra? This person took advantage of my unconscious state to humiliate me. Before I could explain the misunderstanding, Mr. Thompson interjected. Hold on, Sierra. Maxwell was trying to help you. Tyler was there too, and even the paramedic said his quick response was crucial. Mr. Thompson's stern reprimand seemed to calm her down. Maxwell, I'm truly sorry. Sierra is my only daughter, born when I was over 40, and it seems she's been brought up a bit spoiled. This is my fault, and I'm ashamed. Please forgive her. What? Sierra is the daughter of Mr. Thompson. Surprised, I looked at her, and she appeared to be on the verge of tears. But you saw my body. But I covered you with a towel, so no one else saw. As I explained, she burst into tears. When I asked Mr. Thompson, what's the matter, he began to speak in a soft voice. When Sierra was just 5, she tried to help her mother by reaching for a kettle, but she accidentally knocked it over, causing severe burns on her stomach and thighs. Though the scars had faded over the years, they were still noticeable when she was naked. As a result, she had been too scared to go to the beach or pool and had never been in a relationship due to fear of her scars being seen. The scars had made her wary of love, and she threw herself into her work as a distraction. It's pitiful, really, between you and me, I promoted her to a managerial position, hoping it would make her work more fulfilling. That was my decision. Then Sierra addressed Mr. Thompson. I don't want to be a manager. I know I don't have the capability for it. Everyone is wondering why I was promoted. I'm already at my limit. She broke down crying, leaving both Mr. Thompson and me at a loss. Whenever I visit the branch, I see Tyler and Maxwell working happily, and I couldn't help but feel envious. I wanted to work like that too, but given my position, I had to be strict. Tears streamed down her face unabated. You said it yourself, didn't you, that you hated me? Yes, I'm disliked by everyone, and the executives say I'm all about appearances. With a body like this, I can't even get married. My only option is to work hard. Saying so, she collapsed onto the sofa and burst into loud tears. Sierra, so that's why you were working so hard. If only you had told us sooner. How could I possibly say that? I know how you feel, Dad. I can't just say I can't do this job anymore. Her crying intensified. I'm sorry, Sierra. It's my fault for not realizing how you felt. I truly am sorry. Mr. Thompson apologized, placing a hand on her back. Seeing Sierra, who was always so strong, crying like a baby, shocked me. After watching her cry for a while, I felt an urge to comfort her and sat down in front of her. Sierra, do you know what this is? I took off my sock and showed her the scar on my right foot. When I was in high school, I confessed my feelings to a girl and was dumped within a week. I was so frustrated that I kicked a wall repeatedly and broke a bone. After that, I couldn't play soccer, which I love. I was so afraid of getting dumped that I still haven't been with a woman. Lame, right? As I began to share my story, she looked up from her tears. This car is smaller than yours, Sierra, but sometimes it causes me intense pain. That's why I sometimes ask Tyler to let me work indoors. The pain of a physical injury combined with emotional scars can be quite tough. I said with a light smile. Everyone has their own scars, they just don't talk about them. Hearing this, she apologized through her tear-stained face. Was that the reason you were in the office when I was around? I'm sorry. I thought you were just skipping outside work. I should apologize too. I never considered that you were being strict because you were holding back. I misunderstood you, Sierra. It's ironic though, how we both became timid about relationships for different reasons. Indeed, it seems we're quite alike. Sierra and I ended up laughing together. We then apologized to each other again. I apologized for my lack of consideration, and she for jumping to conclusions and causing a scene, for the embarrassment and panic she felt, and for not being able to thank me for helping her. And then, we shook hands, making amends. Watching us, Mr. Thompson spoke with a smile. It's good that you both cleared up your misunderstandings. However, Maxwell still needs to take some responsibility. Responsibility. Confused, I listened as Mr. Thompson suggested I come to the headquarters. Apparently, Tyler from the branch had mentioned how my support for clients was highly valued and trustworthy. Mr. Thompson then proposed that I come to the headquarters to lend my support. But I explained that the high client satisfaction was not just due to my efforts, but thanks to everyone at the branch. Mr. Thompson seemed disappointed, but also pleased, acknowledging that I understood the company's ethos. How about supporting my daughter then? What if you were to become my son-in-law? It seems you two are quite similar, after all. What are you saying, Dad? That's so sudden. Caught off guard by the turn of events, I found myself finding her pretty as she blushed and retorted at Mr. Thompson. A year after the incident at the Hot Springs Resort, I was holding a modest wedding ceremony with family and close colleagues. My partner was Sierra, the former branch manager whom I once disliked. The reason is, Sierra is currently the section manager of the branch we're in. She's now the manager at our branch because, after the incident in the president's office, she pleaded with Mr. Thompson to return to a regular employee position. Unable to demote a branch manager directly to a regular employee, Mr. Thompson compromised by making her a manager at the branch. And it was Tyler who got promoted to branch manager at the headquarters. A well-deserved promotion recognized by the executives for his abilities. But Sierra didn't care about any of that. She was happy working with us every day. After reconciling in the president's office, Sierra and I met several times, agreeing to stop being timid about relationships and to acknowledge our weaknesses while encouraging each other to take a step forward. One day, I asked Sierra about that hot spring trip. She explained that the Hot Spring Resort Hotel was a place of healing for her, and she often visited alone. That day, she and Tyler went to discuss a new project for the travel agency, aiming to come up with a plan that would ensure the survival of the branch amidst its company downsizing due to economic hardship. Tyler and Sierra have been childhood friends, and he's the only colleague she can vent her frustrations to. So it seems that she sometimes sneaks away to consult with Tyler instead of with other people. Even though I haven't asked, she keeps telling me that there's nothing going on between her and Tyler. Even when I say I understand, she keeps insisting, so when I hug her tightly, she finally quiets down. When we first started dating, there were days like that. And then we decided to live by supporting each other. To fulfill Sierra's wish of having the ceremony at the place that brought us together, and to do it in our 20s, we went to consult at that hotel that I helped Sierra. When the two of us apologized for what happened a year ago and expressed our wish to have our wedding there, the owner and the head chef were delighted to take it on. On the wedding day, during his speech, Ryan discusses how the trouble at this hotel has led us to where we are today. Me, usually unassuming, took calm command and saved a life with the correct CPR technique. As a colleague and a friend, he respects me for being reliable when it matters most. And Sierra, who chose such a person, is truly a wonderful woman. But at first, he really hated Sierra. You know, life is full of surprises. Laughter erupts in the venue. Ryan, you didn't have to say that. As I glare at Ryan, Sierra pinches my leg and whispers, "Oh, you hated me, huh? Sierra asks with a mischievous tone. Well, not that I hated you, but more like you were difficult for me. But now, I love you. Are you sure? Sure, I love you, Sierra. It's embarrassing to say that here. Geez, you're silly. As we exchange these words, we realize the venue has gone completely silent. Max, the mic is on, so everyone heard your conversation. Looking at the mic on the table, I see the switch is turned on. Uh-oh, this could work for our next project. Why not have your wedding at a memorable place? Sounds like a good plan, right? Sierra starts talking hurriedly, with a flushed face. Is this still about work? As Alex starts laughing, the whole venue is enveloped in laughter. Embarrassed, we look at each other's red faces, cherishing the happiness surrounded by our dear friends. A small stream of water seeping out of the mountains eventually becomes a river and finally paddles out to the ocean, while the water flows to enrich the mountains and create a beautiful green mountainous Sierra, giving birth to new life. Life goes on like that. Thinking this in my heart, I firmly grasp Sierra's hand under the table.